Let's see. Are we live? Are we live? I think we're live. Okay. I don't know why we're saying we, because again, we're doing another solo show because Nita is at the dentist with her kids. So they're getting their luxury bones looked into. So, good morning. It is Monday, December 8th. Uh, the last, it's still when don't I say that it's like I can't believe it's the date that it is, right? um but especially today is a very interesting day. So like I said, it's just me today, so everyone's going to be keeping me company, and hopefully from not losing my mind too much, because I'll definitely explain this story in a minute. So I might as well get this party started regardless of whether I'm ready to do it or not. So here we go. So good morning, everybody, on this rather crisp Monday morning for another episode of the Ragin to the Vlogs show, except it's just me today. Like I said, Nita took her kids to the dentist today, so I'm by myself, which, considering what's been going on, might not be a good idea. But hopefully, you guys will help me from losing my mind completely. So, welcome, welcome. So Melissa's here, hello, and Lou is here, hello, hello, and then Michael is here, hello. After this shit weekend, well. I hope your weekend was better than mine. That's for sure. Good morning, Joseph. Hello, hello. Are we talking about the ghost of Eurovision's fandom? No, we are not talking about that. It's like I don't follow any of Eurovision, so actually I have no idea what that is. So, and hello, HR. Hello. Yes, actually, we're all going to be needing to hang in there today. And yes, I see you, my beautiful eyeball people watching from regions beyond. If you are following any links from anywhere else other than YouTube, come on over to YouTube and join the sexy people in the chat. Keep them company. And while you're at it, make sure you like, share, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you get notified whenever any of our shows go live. And so I guess I might as well, just get this going because I have had a long morning. Oh my goodness. So hello everyone. My name is Daphne Lage and I'm a cartoonist, illustrator, and comic book artist from New York. I have been self-publishing comics since 1992, and you know what that means.
I feel like I'm taking crazy pills.
Especially after this weekend. I am the artist for the furry fantasy. Oh, actually, it's this one. This is the card. I am the artist for the furry fantasy adventure Tall Tales and the creator of Ego Raven, Heir of the First Unicorn, a medieval fantasy drama you can read online at egoworks.com. And also, if you have been following Ego Raven, I'm currently working on issue 12, and the pre-launch for issue 12 on Kickstarter is live for Eagle Raven 12. The link is in the chat and in the show notes. And also, if you don't know, if you prefer your art to be a little spicy, House of Bob is still live on Kickstarter. Thank you, everybody who have supported the campaign and raised the money that you did. Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate it. And I'm especially going to appreciate it more after this whole thing. Oh my goodness. Because it's like, if you have been looking to get commissions from me, the House of Bob campaign is the place to do it. I have limited slots if you want to get commissions, sketch covers of your OCs or anything else, any fan art you want me to do. That's the campaign to do it. I should still have some slots open for that to reserve your commission. And yeah, like I said, link is in the chat. And also, if you're joining me, if you're watching this on YouTube, you can also check out all my videos on how I make my comics here at YouTube at my channel at Daphne Lage, Lager. And like I said, make sure you you like, share, subscribe, notify me, and you get the click the notify me button, and also leave some bad advice in the comments. Oh my goodness. So yeah, so it's just me today. And let me preface off. I know that it's like I'm kind of hinting at a story. Um, you know. Oh, hello, hello. Who are you people? Who are you, sir? You couldn't be, could you be the Brian K. Morris? Could you be? I don't know. Maybe. Um, I mean, gosh, that's the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS is a name that I haven't heard in a while. But welcome, whoever you are. Oh my goodness. So yeah, I've had a rough weekend. And I am trying to keep myself kind of level because I have a lot of regular work to do without getting like tied up in yeah, Lou, definitely the crazy pills. Without it having to get too tied up in what had happened this weekend. Actually, it's like right before the show. I was trying to take care of some stuff. So but let me go back. Let me preface this story, because it's like I know that I'm building it up, and in the end it's probably not going to be the thing that you think it is, but I don't know, to me it is. So back when I was helping my mother clean out her apartment in August, right? So we were packing up her stuff, so, because we're moving her to New York, hopefully in the next several months. And she had kept a couple of things of mine that I had completely forgotten that I had. And one of them was a portfolio. I should have had the portfolio out to show you, but one of them was a portfolio that I did where I was doing a lot of furry art in kind of like an Art Nouveau style. And but she's had some of those pieces like hanging up for a bit, so it really, it wasn't really the thing that caught my attention. So what she did have was this catalog. I found it in one of her drawers. And this is an original catalog that I was giving out back in my furry fandom days. And I think this is from like 95, most likely, because there is an ad for a calendar in here that's for 96. So I'm assuming that this is 95 if that calendar is in there. I barely remember the calendar, but I know that I didn't like reprint it, as a calendar after that year. I think I did it as a portfolio, but yeah, but back in the days when I was going to conventions, furry conventions regularly, I was giving out this catalog. And and it's like, and it's just like kind of like this really neat time capsule of like the books that the comics that we were putting out at the time. Let's see, we were up to Tall Tales #2. let's see, we have these trading cards that we also had, right? And then it's like all these portfolios. It's like I think I still have no, actually, I don't know if I still have these t-shirts. No, I think I did. I think I do. I think I saw them in I have this big box where I keep my artwork, which is going to be central to this story. So so like these are all like all the portfolios that I had available, pure mail order. And you get like a little centerfold here. And like what else? I think I skipped right. And then it's like these were like all the prints that I had available at the time. I mean, look at these prices. Individual color prints, $7, 10 color prints for 50. Jesus Christ. And it was just kind of like a really neat thing to look at that. It's like back in those days, you could get a 9x12 black and white ink from me for $30. Look at that. An 8.5 11. You could get an inked piece for $15 back in 95. I mean, it was just like, so yeah. So I have like also these little thumbnails of all the artwork that I had, right? And just like these, little pinups and stuff. And yeah, it was actual mail order. It was actual mail order. So it's like literally like back in the day, you had to fill this out and you had to mail it to me. Exactly, a long time ago. And you had to mail it to me. To tell you the truth, I kind of miss those days, honestly, because fighting for attention online is just the pits. I swear to God. But, it was just like this little catalog that I was giving away. Right. And it was just like, actually, it was mom that held on to this, so because I knew for a fact I didn't even have this, like, I don't think I even had the master to this. I'm pretty sure I didn't. Because the problem is that, like, technically I do have the digital files, but they're impossible for me to open because they were originally done in a program called, oh hey Rob, Quark Express. And it no longer, like, I cannot get that to work even though I have the serial number and everything. It doesn't work with Windows. Has anyone tried to place a recent order? Not from this, no. That would have been something to have gotten an order in the mail, right? So oh yeah, it's like, yeah, because I ended up moving on to InDesign because of that, but yeah, so I know I still have the files for this, but I am unable to open them. They will not uh open at all. And if I wanted to get an updated version of Quark, it's like $600, and it's not backwards compatible. So it's like, even if I had Quark, it wouldn't open those files from like 96, 95. So they're as good as gone, even though technically I have the files. So I have them in spirit, but I can't do anything with it. So I was looking at all the artwork that I had in this. And the thing is, though, it's like even with the portfolio that my mother had, which was like the old Art Nouveau furry pieces, right? I really didn't think anything of it because I knew that I had all those originals, most of those originals in my art box. And and just like these, like some of these pieces, I still have the original for. Well, so this is where this story of Quark. Now that is a name I've not heard in a long time. That's for sure. Yeah, it's like I think we all have post-traumatic stress disorder from using Quark back in the day. Um, So, so it's like, so I kept the catalog, which I thought was a cool thing. And, and I was just like really, and I was looking at these shitty little thumbnails, right? And I remember most of these pieces. And again, it's like I wasn't that concerned because even if I didn't have the original, I had the masters to them, except for a lot of the adult stuff I didn't, because I went through this really strange phase. And yeah, I didn't have the I know that I didn't have the masters to a lot of the erotic art, and I sold, and of course they sold very quickly. So I don't have so I knew I didn't have the masters to a lot of the dirty stuff, but most of the clean stuff I knew for a fact I still had the originals for, so I didn't really think much of it. And then, I had people like several years ago asking when I was first putting out my portfolios, going back to House of Bob, right? Oh, and that's the funny thing, because the original House of Bob portfolio is in here. Where it's like, actually, it's the original title was Bondage Bob's Babe Boutique, and Bondage Bob was the nickname I had given to this guy who all he asked for was that type of artwork. Although it was just really strange how he would only ask me for that type of artwork, but if he went to anybody else, he would ask for like really strange fandom stuff with like Judge Dredd and Sonic, and it was just like, but because he only asked me, and he was kind of like, I would say, like, aggressive about demanding this type of artwork. So I had nicknamed him Bondage Bob after a Howard Stern joke, like a throwaway Howard Stern joke. And it got to a point where everybody in furry fandom was calling him Bondage Bob. And I got to a point where he was using it as a badge of honor. He actually got a badge done that said Bondage Bob. So yeah, even though I didn't christen him that under the best circumstances, in the end, it's like, it just became a thing. It just became like a meme, I guess, one of the original memes back in the day, and we just all ran with it. So so it's like, so a couple of years ago when I was like playing around with doing the portfolios, like when I originally did the original versions of these portfolios, because my initial idea was to put out a sketchbook every quarter and just do, and I almost did for 1 year, like 2014. For some reason, like, I got a spring and I got a summer done, right? And then I was able to do another portfolio for winter 2015, right? And then I did the whole House of Bob thing in 2017. I think that was when I started doing Patreon, before they kicked me off, before Patreon kicked me off for House of Bob, for having adult artwork on an adult page. It was, yeah, it was a thing. So so that's when I like consolidated everything into under the title House of Bob, because it was a reference to that original portfolio and a reference to the guy. Oh, hey Glenn, hello. Nina's at the dentist, so hopefully she's listening. But thank you. Yes. So that's where House of Bob comes from, is from that portfolio that's actually in this catalog. And and I had some people say, it's like, hey, it's like, it would be really cool if you could reprint all your artwork from back in the day in sketchbook format, so that we can have it, right? Especially since these are long out of print. And that was kind of the idea, like, especially on the last episode, I was talking about when how important it is, especially now, to make sure that you collect your artwork analog, and in a way that people could actually collect them easy, as opposed to like having to collect individual prints and things. Just because, you know, a lot of websites, a lot of platforms, they're really cracking down on adult work. And there just comes a point where it's like, okay, you know, like I said, I got kicked out of Patreon, off of Patreon, like back in 2018, 2019. So I started the sketchbooks to make up for that. And you know, and then it's like, especially recently, it's like, you know what, this is like an even better idea to do, like, especially since I've you know, kind of like created a format for them. You would think, well, the original, you know, isn't the point of the internet for not safe for work artwork and, you know, work? And it's like, well, originally, before it all got consolidated into 4 platforms run by two conglomerates. So yeah, so it's like now everybody wants everything to be advertiser friendly. I'm not even going to say it's child friendly, just advertiser friendly. Everything has to be advertiser friendly. The children are just the excuse. But really what it is that they, you know, yeah, they want everything to be optimized for advertising. And pornography is not something that, I don't know, Amazon wants to be associated with for some reason. You know, so you know, oh, you can, Glenn, you can you can do what Guillermo does. What Guillermo did with his, you know, he has like a couple of houses, Bleak House, where he has his collection because his wife told him he can't have that shit in the main house. So he had to buy separate houses just to house his fantasy collection. And because, oh, but the thing is though, like even then that has had a limit because he got so scared with the LA fires because it was so close to one of the Bleak houses that he thought that he was going to lose that entire collection. So what he recently did was that he made the difficult decision to start selling off his collection. And I think he started off with some like Richard Corbin work. Because he said that the whole idea of losing that artwork in a fire was like, it was worse for him to think about it than to think about that could be a reality, if not this year, like especially since wildfires are now a season now. It's like, so if he doesn't lose it now, he might lose it later. So he just figured that it was important for him to start selling off parts of that collection to people that he know would be stewards of that collection. So yeah, so now he's breaking up his collection because now he's realizing it's like, I have too much stuff and I can't take care of it. Oh, and that's the thing too that I read in this article, that if you've ever seen Bleak House, right? And now it's like it's 2 houses, he cleans every single piece of artwork by himself. Like he will go to the house and he cleans it because he says he's tried hiring he's tried hiring services to clean, and he says no matter like how professional he tried to like get like very specific like companies, he caught one of these people literally trying to clean an oil painting with Windex. And he says he's been cleaning everything himself ever since. You know, well, yeah, that's true. It's either wildfires or earthquakes or the whole thing, right? I mean, we get sucked up into the sun and it's all done, right? So, so it's like, so I was, thinking about what this person was asking. It's like, oh, could you release your older work? So being the end of the year, I started working on my schedule for 2026 as to what Kickstarters I'm going to be doing next year and what artwork I have to get done in order to accomplish this. So I put together, so it's like I have a couple of sketchbooks that are already in progress. So it's like I put together, there's four, there's four more, well, there's three more House of Bob books. And then I decided that I was going to finish that Art Nouveau collection that I started. I think I have like 12 or 13 pieces, and I'm just going to finish do like I have to do like 18 pieces for that. There's another book, a sketchbook, I have to do 7 pieces, 4 pieces, 16 pieces. And then there's like 2 sketchbooks that I kind of have pending. Like I've always wanted to do Junicorn, like the monthly challenges like Junicorn and Kinktober, but I never have the time to actually do those challenges during the actual challenge. um I just don't have time because I'm still like I said, I'm still finishing up Eagle Raven issue 12. And then for next year, I want to finish 13, 14, 15, and 16. I want to finish the series next year, but I will be releasing issue 12 and volume 3, Eagle Raven volume 3 next year, interspersed with two more House of Bob campaigns. And then I also want to make it a point to lay out Tall Tales issue 7 and 8 and finally finish that story arc. Just get it all penciled out. And then, and then that way, once it's penciled, all I have to do is just ink it and not worry about it because it's not in color. So it takes me less time. Yeah, those art challenges always seem to come up at the most inconvenient times. Yeah, and it's like, and now every month has an art challenge, which I like the idea conceptually, but like I said, it's like, I think I've only been able to successfully do 2 Inktober's. And then after the guy trademarked the whole thing, it's like, you know what? There's plenty. Everyone started creating their own art challenges, so you don't have to worry about doing Inktober. And but the 2 that really stood out for me is Junicorn and Kinktober. There is a mermaid, but I already have a mermaid portfolio, so I don't want to do another one just yet. So I want to do those and probably maybe like, but you know what? It's like what I'm thinking of doing, instead of like doing those challenges at that time, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab last year's prompts and do like do new sketchbooks based on those prompts. And I'll probably name, and I'll just name it something else, but it's like just so I could like Kinktober. So instead of like saying, okay, if this is Kinktober or Junicorn 2026, I'll just grab whatever prompt. And it's like, okay, based on Junicorn 2025, type of thing. And that's that'll be the sketchbook. So I get to do the challenge without doing the challenge, and I get a sketchbook anyway. So so I was setting up this schedule, and I had like kind of it, set up. So it's a lot of, there's going to be a lot of drawing. There isn't a lot of drawing, right? So, but there's a lot. 2026 is where I want to get a lot of stuff finished. I want to get Eagle Raven done completely, the series, issue 16. I want it done. I want to get Tall Tales 7 and 8 penciled out, so I just have to ink it. Get that done. And then I have like these 4 sketchbooks that I have to do several pieces just to finish off those sketchbooks. And then, like I said, I have like the ones, create your own Bobtober. Oh, that's pretty good. Very clever, Joseph. Actually, I like that. Let me write that down. Hold on. Let me write that down. We can do that. Let's see. Yeah, right. Hold on. There you go. So instead of Kinktober, it'll be Bobtober. Thank you so much. $1 million idea. So then what, so I figured, okay, so I have the originals for this these Art Nouveau pieces. So I have the originals for those. So I figured, it's like, okay, let me see. I did have some of them scanned out, but there was a couple of pieces in the portfolio that I still had in the box that I just had to grab and scan them in. So that's where the box comes in. So the box is this giant green tub, right? That I've been storing all of my artwork in. If I do artwork, my comic pages are there. It originally started to store comic pages, but then it just got really unwieldy. So I started to store my comic pages separately. So they're in a shelf over here. And then the tub is just for like a lot of loose artwork, whatever artwork, So and it goes back. There are some sections that go back to like grade school and stuff, although that is significantly diminished. I made a lot of bad decisions back in the day, but when you're a kid, right, it's like, that's why it always surprises me when they do like artist retrospectives and like, oh, this is Walt Disney's, first sketch when, he was like 12 or 8 or whatever, right? And then it's like there's an Art of Wendy Pini book that I have there where it's like she has like the artwork, all the fan comics that she was doing when she was like really young, and it's like, Jesus, how did these people know to save all this stuff? you know um yeah, that's pretty much. Melissa says, I have no idea how to store my art. Some are in boxes, others in portfolio cases, and some just stacked in piles around my office. Right. Um, let's see. Glenn says, I'd like to see a few volumes of your art full of original art size. Why not self-publish it? Well, you see, that was the idea, right? So I went to get these originals, and all of a sudden, and it's like, and I went through the box and I go, oh, that's really strange. It's like, where are they? And I thought maybe they were mixed in because I kind of have everything categorized. So, so it's like, I was looking for it. I thought maybe they got mixed into like, I don't know, maybe I accidentally put them in like an Eagle Raven folder or a Tall Tales folder. Right. And it's like, and I have kind of like another thing with like miscellaneous stuff, and it's like, I'm going, that's really strange. Right. So I couldn't find these originals that I knew I had. And then I started digging. And then I realized, and it's like, and what's funny was like, because I was looking for something else beforehand. Like a couple of days ago, I had gotten like unusually nostalgic over some artwork that I did back in the day, and I had wanted to see it. And I went looking for it and couldn't find it. It was a manila folder full of like, there were like these little cutout artwork that I did that I hung up on my wall at that time. And I couldn't find that folder. So it's like I went digging, went through my closet. It's like I don't understand. It's like, where is this folder? Why can't I find it? Right? Everything should have been in the box. And then, and it's like, and I was really irritated, and I told Jose, it's like, I'm really fucking irritated that I can't find this thing, but honestly, though, I was kind of really upset because it's like, it was like very personal artwork that I had wanted to see again, and I couldn't find them. So, okay, fine. And it's like, and I go, okay, let me go get the originals for this Art Nouveau portfolio so I could scan them in. And I went looking for that. And I couldn't find that either. And it's like, I'm like, wait a minute. So I went through some other folders, maybe, like I said, thinking that they got mixed in. And then I realized, wait a minute, it's not just this that's missing. My entire fold, like it's a bag. It's kind of like a giant Ziploc bag that's like this thick. That was full of my masters and originals from that time period. And I couldn't find it. It's not in the box. And and I was just like, kind of like, how it's like it's not even like I had this car crash sound in the back of my head. It was kind of like everything was now like this little point of light. Like everything just went wee, like my entire mind just went wee, like a TV turning off, right? Well, the old tubes, um, the old tube TVs turning off. You get the line and the little thing, and I think it was like the opening to the Outer Limits, or what is it? I don't know if the Twilight Zone had that. I think it might have. And my entire brain went like that once I realized my entire furry fandom masters that I would have made these sketchbooks from, it's all gone. It's not in the box. Like, and then the worst part about it was realizing that's 10 fucking years worth of work. That's just gone. And not only that, but it's 10 very formative years. And then it's like I start remembering, yeah, that's exactly what happens. It's the switch off. Yeah. And and I'm talking about like I know for a fact, like, this is one of the pieces. I know, I've seen this in the box. I know, like, these pieces, I know I have a lot of the masters, especially the clean ones. I went through a phase really, really early after I stopped going to furry cons and like kind of like wrote off the entire fandom around like 2000, that I started going in and cleaning up the dirty originals that I did have. So I kind of still had them, but they were altered. So my idea, and I knew that I had done that. And and I figured, oh, I'll just go back and I'll just like re-edit them and redraw, the parts that I edited out. But if I had them, I'd be able to do it. And like I said, the entire pack is completely gone. And there was like, and inside that pack, not only was it originals, but it was like a comb bound book that I had put all the masters in. And I remember, writing, because I have book one, and I have, because I wanted to organize all the loose stuff so that they weren't like all over the place. So I have book one, and I have book three, but book two, that has all the furry fandom stuff, is gone, along with all the originals that I know for a fact I kept, including those Art Nouveau pieces. Although I have some of them because I was using them for something else and never put them back. And because of that, I still have those, but not the rest of that 10 years worth of stuff. So like I said, it's like my brain just completely switched off after I realized that shit's missing. Right? And and it's like, and I was like really fuming, like, I don't know, like it was kind of like I was having like all these really, really mixed emotions, because it's like, on one hand, like, I was upset because, oh my God, I could have monetized that. Like, I was going to bring all that artwork back into circulation. Right. But at the same time, it's like, that's fucking 10 years of my life that's gone. Right? I mean, there's nothing I don't have. If it wasn't for those particular pieces that I was using for something else, I wouldn't have those either. Like, where the fuck did this thing go? And and then it's like, but honestly though, the thing that really kills me though is the original artwork that I was looking for before I realized this artwork was Well, you see, that's the problem, HR. Because part of the reason that I remembered all the originals that I can't find now is because I was in the process of slowly scanning everything in, because I do have digital files, but it's not a lot of them. It's only like a tiny fraction of what I had. And I was in the process of scanning them. And the last time I scanned them was in 2007. And yeah, I'm still processing it, Michael. Thank you. I'm still processing it. Um, you know, so it's like I have very, very few. But the thing is, though, it's like what kills me is like I know I had the originals to these pieces, and those are gone. But like everything, that entire pack is gone. It's not just the comb bound book that's gone. It's the originals that I had with it. And and it's like in this morning before the show, because I finished just about before the show was starting. I had upturned this art box and I went through every single piece of paper. Like, even though I was looking for a comb bound book, I was flipping every single sheet of paper in there. Gave me the opportunity to organize a little bit better. It's like I have a separate thing for Eager Raven, for Tall Tales, for whatever furry stuff I have left, which is all the contemporary stuff, pretty much all the sketchbook stuff. Um and and it's like, okay, but it's gone. It's like it's not, and the problem is that for the life of me, I have no memory of when was the last time I physically saw it. You know? It's like I said, it's like the scans that I found on my computer, which, mind you, I did a full backup of my hard drive, because that's always been a thing, like losing my artwork. That and it's like, because I've already lost a hard drive full of work already, and I've never wanted that to do that again. And the reason why I started this box was when we lost a lot of stuff. Mostly it was Jose that lost a lot of stuff when we had our first flood. Um and and I've been keeping my stuff in boxes and bagged and everything ever since. You know, but it never occurred to me that shit would just go missing. I mean, part of the point of having this box is to keep everything in one place. And I just find it bizarre that this one particular folder, this one particular pack, I have to call it a pack because it's the thing, it's the binder, it's the originals inside of a giant Ziploc bag. Um, so it's just a pack. And it's like, why is this particular pack gone completely? And how long has it been gone that I didn't notice? And that I haven't, and like I said, I can't remember the last time I saw it. So, so I'm trying to create a timeline here. 2007 is too far down, is too far down that road. It's like 2007 is just like, okay, I started scanning it then, but I didn't get far. But I know I must have seen that folder at least in the past 5 years. At least. Um, it's like I'm almost positive I saw this thing when I had to empty out the office to get it completely redone, because I had this crack in the wall that was flooding the office every time it rained. So we had to redo the entire office. I had to empty everything out, put everything in the living room. And I kind of remember there was a vlog. I kind of remember doing this on a vlog, but I don't remember if it was my vlog, if it was one of the older Nita vlogs with Meredith, or it was like with Randy, where I was literally showing off the contents of this box. But I can't remember. It's like I was kind of like doing a search on my channel and on the network channel, just to kind of like, okay, when did I do this video? And it's like, and was it something that I recorded, or was I on a private live stream? Like, that's the thing that I don't remember. It's like, did I even record it? Or was I just talking to people and showing off what was in the box? Right? Because what I had wanted to figure out is this book in the video? Because if it's in the video, then I have like some kind of timeline to work from that's recent, and maybe try to figure out where this thing is, because the thing that the thing that keeps repeating is that it's in the house somewhere, which is a very strange thing to, because where else would it be? It's like, it's supposed to be in the box. So where else would it be except in the house somewhere? But like, why would it be anywhere else in the house except in the art box where it's supposed to be? Right? So, okay, so I already went through the box looking for it. It's not there. Right. And like I said, and mind you, the other day I low key cleared out this thing looking for, just seeing, like, with the intention of finding the original folder that I was looking for. But it gave me a chance to like clean it up over here and, kind of like organize better, just put stuff that I don't use a lot, on the bottom where I don't really go that much. But, I mean, it's kind of an artist's worst nightmare, really, short of your house just burning down and just taking everything with it, Um, and it's just like I said, I'm still kind of processing this, because it's like, yeah, I kind of like, what the fuck, like it's kind of like, the more I think about it, the more it's like turning into like a mystery. Like what the fuck did I do with that? Now the thing is that I have gone through periods where I have thrown stuff out. I have thrown artwork out. I am absolutely sure this is not, I am 100% sure that this is not one of those moments. Because when I threw artwork out, outright shredded it, outright destroyed it, it was targeted towards very specific artwork and for a very specific reason. Like, I know exactly the artwork that let's just say I took shit out on, you know? So I know it's not that. Because like I said, those are very, very specific memories. I know exactly the artwork that I did that to. I know exactly why I did it to it. And and it had more to do with issues than, oh, I need to get rid of this artwork. No, it was a thing. So I know it's not that, because there's artwork that I'm looking for that I did not do that to. I would never have done that to that artwork, because I was keeping it that was the artwork I wanted to keep. And that was in that folder, that pack as well. So I know it's not that. I know it's not that. I didn't accidentally throw it out because the artwork I did throw out was not accidental. So there is no accidentally throwing out artwork. That's not the mental process. And the thing is though, it's a huge thing like this. I wouldn't throw out something like that. I mean, it's just, like I said, it's like that's not what happened. Absolutely 100% sure. It's like, look, my memory is faulty on a lot of things, but on that, I am 100%. Oh, Michael, you didn't have to, but thank you. While the art miraculously returning is ideal, this is towards a dessert or maybe some alcohol. We're going through such crappy situation. You do not deserve to happen to you. You may still find it. That's what I'm hoping. Thank you. I'll probably go to Starbucks. Because I don't drink. But chocolate helps. So that's this is that's it's all of them. This is frustrating, stressful, and upsetting. um um so it's like it, so it's like, so it's like, of course, it's like, it kind of like made me really think of a lot of stuff, like, but mind you, it's the kind of thinking you do in a split second. you know it's it kind of like, I guess this is what it feels like when your life flashes before your eyes, type of thing, or the thing that people talk about. you know because because Jose was like trying to like calm me down by saying the thing about, it's like, look, it's gone. Like, try not to worry about it. It's like, you don't even know how long it's been missing. It's like, and and then it's like there was this whole thought about it. Yeah, that's where I'm leaning towards. It's misplaced somewhere, because honestly, because it's like the only other option that exists is that somebody took it, that I had put it somewhere in the house where it wasn't supposed to be, and somebody took. But that's such a stupid thought. That is such an absolutely stupid, unhinged thought. It's like the thought of somebody just like in the house stealing it. Like, you know what it is? It's like, stealing is the shit that that's what you accuse people of doing when you don't want to admit that you misplaced it. That's the thing. It's like, because that's usually my experience with that. When people say something's missing, usually their go-to is that someone stole it. And it's like, and usually it's kind of like the dumbest shit that they always accuse somebody stealing. And it's like, and even then it'd be like, why would somebody steal that? Right. So yeah, but for a split second, my mind went there. Oh, somebody stole it. And I go, why would somebody steal something like that in the house? Who could have been in the house that would want something so hyper specific? Hey, I have found shit all over when I clean JD's puts my stuff away, but not where I would. And then Michael says that I found stuff that disappeared at home for years until it turned up somewhere when I was looking for something else. Right. So that's what he says, my parents' mentality. And I'm like, no one wants your stuff. Right. Yeah. I mean, it's like, yeah, it doesn't make any sense. Right. So it's like, I refuse to even entertain that idea, in any serious level, because it's ridiculous. It's, I mean, really, it's a pack of 10 years worth of furry art. Who the fuck would want that? Right. And who would even be coincidentally in the house You know, so the idea is stupid. So like I said, the idea is stupid, and for me to even entertain it is even more stupid. But it doesn't change the fact that the thing is missing. Yeah, our fandom does not turn anyone else on. You know, so it's like this shit's still missing, and the only thing that I could tell myself is that it's in the house somewhere. The question is fucking where, and how long ago has it been there? You know, so so it's like, so now it's like I'm thinking about, like okay, when can I dedicate time to, well, yeah, it's always the last place you look. When do you ever find something and continue looking for it? I'm sorry, that's an old Benny Hill joke. It's the last place. Yeah. Yeah, I would hope so. I would hope it's in the last place I would look. Um, so it's like, so now it's like what I'm beginning to think now that I have, because the thought of having to tear apart my office is not something I want to do. I really don't. Just tearing apart the box, even though I went through it faster than I thought I would, yeah, because I was on a mission. Um, you know, but the thing is, though, is that could it be somewhere else in the office? But you see, but that's the thing. It's like I don't remember where, if I've seen it in the office, you know? Oh, but like some of the other things that I was thinking, right? Is that, because it's like I remember when me and Nita did this episode about legacy, right? And and it's like about how Richard and Wendy Peeney donated $500,000 to Columbia University, and then Wendy donated her entire art archive to the university, Columbia University. Um, you know, and there was this whole thing about like other people who collect pop art stuff or whatever. Oh, they were talking more about like comic book stuff, like people collecting comics, people collecting, like there was a guy who had a whole Superman collection and this, that, and the other thing. And what happens to these collections when you're gone? It's a very, honestly, I thought it was a very good episode. I'll make sure to put a link to it in the show notes when I get the chance, like after the show. Because it was about like what happens to your collection when you're gone. And especially after reading the comment section, a very, very eye-opening comment section on this article. This is from the New York Times. Pretty much what I got out of the entire thing is that unless you make very deliberate accommodations for your collection while you're still here to do it, your legacy is at the bottom of a dumpster. And that was something that really like stuck with me with that whole thing. People in the comments were saying it doesn't matter what your collection is. Like there was even one family who was like, they inherited a collection of classic cars and they were like going, we don't want this shit. Why do we have this? What are we supposed to do with this? We don't want this shit. And it didn't matter the collection. Like people were literally saying, if you have a collection that's precious to you, enjoy it now because we're going to throw it out when you die. Like there was like barely any exceptions. The people with the collections thought that they had something valuable, and the families of those people said, the fuck you do. You know, we don't want anything to do with that shit. And if you leave it to, it's like, you better sell it now when you can enjoy the money, because we're not even going to bother to do that. We're just going to get a dumpster, put all your shit in it, and call it a day. Right. And what made it even worse was, like, last year, well, especially, you know, these past couple of years, there have been, in terms of furry fandom, significant passings. And there was one in particular. His name was Terrell Wayne. And he was like, even when I was in furry fandom, this guy was like the, yeah, that's exactly, Melissa. That's exactly, yeah. You know, it's like, this guy won Hugo Awards, the whole thing, for his artwork. Like, when we were in fandom, well, I say we as in me and Jose, but it's me. When I was in furry fandom, I mean, this guy was peak, you know? And like, he was a big name then. He was one of the big artists that everybody collected. It's like, you needed it's like, there was a couple, there was Ken Sample, there was Terry Smith, there was Michelle Light, there was, I mean, it's like, Michelle Light and Terry Smith still do artwork. I think out of everybody, I think Michelle Light is the only one that I've seen that's really continued doing it regularly. Everybody else kind of like, either they kind of like disappeared, or, you know, like Terrell Wayne, he died, you know? And when Terrell Wayne died, it seemed to have been like, not a sudden death, but the problem was that people were bothering him, because it's like, he had all these decades and decades and decades worth of artwork and memorabilia, and, you know, and people were kind of bothering him about it, that it's like, what are you going to do with it? He's like, you really need to do something about this stuff. And Terrell would be like, no. It's like, this is, I've heard this like a billionth hand. It's like, I don't know what Terrell actually said about this or anything. And it's like, and it was kind of like, you know, it's like, no, it's, you know, I'll deal with it later. I deal with it later, until there was no more later. I don't know how he passed, but he passed. And I just remember his sister putting out a absolutely desperate call to anybody in furry fandom, especially if they lived nearby. And they were, and she was like saying, it's like, you need to get his shit. You need to get his stuff out of here. If something was important to you, you have to get it out of here, because if this stuff is still here, because he rented his apartment, and it's like, at the end of the month, the landlord is coming in and throwing everything into a dumpster. And I don't know what happened afterwards, but I mean, that was, it was literally a living embodiment of the New York Times comment section. Your shit's going in a dumpster. I don't care how important it is to you, or it was to you, it's going in a dumpster. You know, and you know, and the thing is, it's like, yeah, so because of that, you know, that's why it's like, you know, I've really made it a point to like legacy doesn't mean anything to me. Like, I want to enjoy shit now, right? It's like, that's why it's like, I'm so, you know, I want to finish Eager Raven so I can enjoy having a finished Eager Raven book. I want to finish Tall Tales so I can enjoy a finished Tall Tales book. You know, whether people enjoy it after I'm gone is irrelevant. I'm not going to be here to know. So that doesn't mean anything to me. The same thing with my artwork. But the shit's missing now. And it's like I'm not able to enjoy it now. And I that's and I think that's kind of like the thing that's kind of like I said, I'm still processing this, like mixing all this up, where it's like this stuff is not supposed to be gone now. I'm supposed to be able to enjoy this now and to print it in sketchbooks so that other people who are looking forward to it get to enjoy these pieces they haven't seen since the 90s. It's like that was what was supposed to happen with this file, and now it's fucking gone. The entire fucking thing. And and it's like I'm not really sure how to handle this, except for keep telling myself it's in the house somewhere. It's in the house somewhere. Your dumbass probably put it somewhere thinking you were going to put it away in the right place, but instead you ended up leaving it in the wrong place, so now you can't find it. Yes, it's like that's what I keep. Yes, this is going to be our mantra. It's misplaced. It's misplaced. It's misplaced. It's someplace where it's not supposed to be, but it's in the vicinity, right? And it's like, so the other thing, right, is, because it's like, that there's the whole thing about like, this is why you're not supposed to make what you do your entire personality. Although I never understood what the fuck that meant, because okay, then what is your personality except a culmination of what you do? Right? I mean, isn't that what your personality is? So to say that I shouldn't have made my artwork my personality, it's like, and then what the fuck am I supposed to do? What was it supposed to be? You know? It it's like I'm an artist. My artwork is an extension of that. I mean, it's a literal extension of that. So how can my artwork not be part of my personality? Right? What is your current project? Everything, Lou. Everything. We have Eager Raven, we have House of Bob, we have Tall Tales. Let's see. It's like I wish Melissa says, I wish I had $1 for every time I says I'll remember where I'm putting this and then promptly forgot where I put this. Right. Yeah. You know? But the thing that would help is that if I could remember why I had it out to begin with. Because, like I said, my only other clue is the initial scans from 2007. But it's like this office didn't even exist in 2007. So, did it? Not in this incarnation. I don't remember. You see, that's the thing. I don't know. I don't know. 2007, I would have to look up as to when this office was built. But like even then, it's like I don't remember like any other time after that. Like I have like it's kind of like the thing that I kind of remember seeing it, but I don't remember where. Did I see it when I was getting the office fixed and I had everything in the dining room and I had to work from the dining room and I was vlogging from the dining room? Like, is that, you know, was that when I last saw it? But even then, it was still, we're talking about what, 5-6 years ago? I don't know. I don't remember. You know? Um, so yeah, so it's like, so yes, is my artwork my personality that this shit bothers the fuck out of me? Absolutely. You know? But like I said, like if my art's not my is not part of my personality, then what's supposed to be my personality? You know? So it's kind of like a stupid phrase. It's like, because what happens when your artwork's gone? Well, technically I'm still an artist, right? So now it's like we come to the other part that I was thinking, right? Is that so Jose is saying, it's like, look, maybe it's just gone, maybe you have to start, like, or this, that, and the other thing. Maybe it's just, you have to just like let it go. And it's like, true, that's an option, right? That's an option. But then what? Right? So now we're in a thing where I'm starting to think, you know what? It's like, okay, what happens now? Right? Say I don't find it. Oh, Michael is more optimistic than I am. I know you will find it. I would not be surprised if by the next time you stream, you will have found it. Like I said, it's like you're more optimistic than I am. I would literally have to tear apart this house to find it. And that's kind of energy. You see, and that's kind of the thing, right? That kind of leads up to this. I don't know if that's energy I want to spend. And that's kind of like, okay, yeah, it's like, sure, I can tear apart the house in the guise of, you know what, I got to do some cleaning anyway. I got to throw out stuff anyway. I got to declutter anyway. Right? And I could tear apart my closets upstairs, and I could empty out every bin, you know? And, sure, I could do that, right? But then I start thinking, what else could I be doing with that time? I could be making new artwork to replace the artwork, to just move on from the artwork that I just lost, right? Um, like, and I'm thinking is that something that I should just, like I've spent like kind of say it's like, okay, I've spent X amount of time on this already. Um, Maybe I should just keep moving on. Just like, okay, I have to finish artwork. What if I spent that time just doing new artwork and going, it's like, you know what? Those pieces are lost. That's it. Um, if anything, maybe I could just take the catalog, what's in here, and maybe just redo the artwork. Maybe I should do updated versions of everything that's in this catalog. Would that make me feel better? You know? The only thing though is that, I don't like draw like this anymore. And my inking style is different, but it's like there's no reason why I can't try to imitate the style that I had back then. Like, am I better off spending my time doing that and redoing this artwork and just doing new versions of it? I mean, I don't even want to do the math. It's been long enough. um like maybe I'm just better off just doing remastered versions of this artwork, just redoing everything, treat the catalog like a checklist, and just like, oh, this is the new version of this artwork. Like, am I better off just doing that instead of looking for this folder? Um, that it's like that, yeah, maybe I'll eventually find it. Um, like what's a better use of my time? Right? Like, let's see. Melissa says it's not ideal, but just think about how much you've improved since you made those originals. Yeah, that's kind of like what I was thinking. But at the same time, the reason why I wanted to see these pieces again was because there was kind of like, I don't consider myself a nostalgic person. I really don't. Like, I'm nostalgic when it kind of comes, like when it comes like to my family and stuff, but even then it's kind of like, I kind of understand. It's the whole thing. You can never go home again. That what you remember is something that you can never like relive, right? Um, so it's like, and it's like, and things like I never understood like the outrage that people would get over like the absolute unhinged behavior people had over like She-Ra, you know, the new She-Ra cartoon, the new Star Wars, like logically I understand, but it's like, but there just comes a point where it's just like, it's just a conversation piece and you move on. The fact that like people literally, they made that their personality, to hate on the new She-Ra cartoon. And it's like, bro, that was not made for you. You were not the demographic for the new cartoon. So why are you so pressed about it? You know? Um, and it's like, and it's like, and funny, the whole thing about redoing these pieces, right? Because it reminds me of Colleen Duran when she lost, well, she didn't lose the originals to, I guess, like her first issue or first couple of issues of A Distant Soil, was that the company stole them from her. They refused to return them. And, she didn't have the means to fight them, to get her artwork back. So what she did was, okay, she did, a Durand version before there was a Taylor's version. She remade her pages. She redrew those issues. Because the company that was, I'm not sure if it was Star, was it, they did the original ElfQuest, and Richard Pini had to go physically get Wendy's pages back. Starblaze Dawning. I don't remember if it was them or not, but she didn't have the privilege of having a husband who traveled cross country to get her original artwork back. So she had to redraw the pages. And she did. So she didn't have to worry about them. And I've seen some people do that. Like there was this woman who was talking about, like, she kind of sort of lost the right, like she did a book for Fantagraphics, this other woman, and she couldn't get anybody, like retailers were telling her the book was out of print, but Fantagraphics kept telling her that it wasn't. So according to her contract, if her book went out of print, she would get her rights back to reprint the book, to reprint the book for herself, she would get her rights back. So retailers were telling her that her book was out of print. They weren't buying her books because they couldn't. And then she goes to Fantagraphics saying, it's like, hey, I'm being told my book is out of print. Can I have my rights back? And Fantagraphics said, no, your book is still in print. Yeah, that can't be, because then she would argue that it's like, well, but how come retailers are saying that they can't fulfill the orders? And I guess that there's this clause that as long as there's a box of books somewhere in a warehouse, even if nobody is touching it, it's still considered in print, even though nobody can buy any of the books in that box. And that was kind of like the loophole that I guess Fantagraphics, I'm paraphrasing this, so I don't, to tell you the truth, I don't even know. I'm pretty sure it's Fantagraphics. If I'm just not confusing this with another artist and another publisher who said the same thing, where it's like, as long as there's a book of a box of 30 books in a warehouse somewhere, your shit is still in print, which means that we still retain the rights to that book. And she was and she was like saying how she was thinking of pulling what Colleen Durand did and just redrawing the entire book. But again, it's like, at what, like, how much effort do you really put into that? To do that. I mean, it's like, I know it worked out for Taylor Swift to re-record her masters. And in the end, it worked out for Colleen Durand because her goal is to finish A Distant Soil, and she, because she redid those pages, she doesn't have to worry about it. She has her entire story. But yeah, I tried to catch myself being nostalgic because it can be toxic to creativity. You live in the past. If you live in the past, you not only lose your present, but also a better future. Yeah, it's true. And also publishers are so skeezy. If it's one thing that Colleen Durand had said, that nobody fights for rights that they have no rights to, then indie publisher, then small publishers. you know? Um, so Michael brings up the point. It's like, so do I put effort into looking for these originals, or do I put that effort into redrawing a lot of the originals based on what's in this catalog, or do I just scrap the whole thing, call it a wash, and just worry about making new artwork? So that's kind of like the dilemma that this whole thing put me in. You know, although, like, because the thing is that I probably can save this. I can scan that in. I can probably save this. I can scan this in and create a digital file. If I scan it in at a high enough resolution, I'd be able to have it, to have these. The same thing with, like, like these pieces, you know, but like everything else, do I spend the time remaking them? You know, I mean, I did put out a call on Fur Affinity. I made a post showing this particular page right here. And I made a call for anybody who collected my artwork and may have any of these portfolios. But the one thing that I would like to find somebody who has it is this book right here. The Erotic Art of Daphne Lage, 96 pages, 8.5 by 11. This book right here. If I could get my hands on that book, it will definitely make me feel better. Because I know that book would have a lot of artwork in it that's been missing even before this batch has gone, so I'm hoping somebody has that book that they can either lend to me so I can scan it in, or they can make copies for me. They can make a copy for me so that I can have it. But who knows? Who knows? Like I said, a lot of the people who collected my artwork back in the day, I hate to say it like this, but they were old when they were collecting it. At the time, they were like older people collecting my work. And I don't know, like, how many how many of these collectors are even still with us for anybody to even go, it's like, oh shit, I know where that book is, or I've seen that book. Because it's like, even on eBay, it's kind of like, ever since eBay had put this rule that you're not allowed to sell porn unless it's corporate porn, like Playboy or something. Like, my stuff hasn't been popping up as much as it used to on eBay. Um, so it's not like I can kind of like, I mean, yeah, I can kind of keep looking, like maybe if it's like, it's like I ask, you know, eBay to kind of like, it's like, if I could, you know what, I'm going to have to do a search for things that have sold in the past and see if I can find stuff that way. Um, you know, I don't know. It's like I said, this is kind of like put me in like kind of like this weird headspace. I mean, I've been in worse headspaces before, so it's like, on one hand, it's like I really do want to find this fucking thing just for the fact that I it's like, cuz I think what bothers me more is that I have no memory of it. Like, I have no memory of when the last time I saw it. But on the other hand, it's like I don't know. It's like, maybe it's just like, oh, just fucking move on. You know? That's you know, like I said, I've been in worse headspaces. It's not like I don't have enough work to do, you know, already. Um yeah, sometimes you just have to stick with what you can control, and you can control making more art. Yeah, that's kind of where I'm leaning. You know, is it upsetting that I lost this shit? Absolutely. But how much time am I really going to spend on this? Because it's like, yeah, I have Eager Raven issue 12 to finish. So, am I going to waste my time looking for this, or should I just finish my book, right? Just work on more pages. And it's like, I really should work on more pages than worrying about where this pile of artwork is. Um but yeah, but that's my story for today. As we reach the hour and a half mark. But yeah, but that's my story for today. Um I'm not, like I said, I'm in a really weird space. So, it's like so I don't know whether, maybe this will hit me later. I'm not sure. I mean, to tell you, I was telling Jose, it's like, honestly, I'm more upset at the artwork that I was originally looking for that I couldn't find, because, like I said, they were of a more really personal nature. This is, that isn't artwork that I would have published. That was not the point of it. Like I said, it was very personal artwork. I'm more upset about losing that than I am really this furry fandom stuff. But it still bothers me. It still bothers me. It's like, yeah, but yeah, I'd like to think it's in the house somewhere, but I don't. Yeah, yeah, you know what? I don't know. I don't know. You know what? I probably, that's the story. That's the story. So, Joseph says, I hope you find them still. It will be awesome when you come across them again. Yeah, I hope so. I hope so. It's in the house somewhere. That's why I just keep telling myself, it's in the house somewhere. It's in the house somewhere. It's in the house somewhere. Um, so thank you, everybody, for keeping me company today and kind of like helping me work through this. I mean, yeah, it's like, yeah, it's like I appreciate that everybody has more faith in me finding thing than I'm giving myself. But also at the same time, it's like, yeah, I really should worry about the stuff I can't control. And that's the stuff that I can draw. And it's like, and as long as I can still do that, we're okay. Um, it's like that's just what it is. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's the fact that I have this catalog that it's not making it as painful because yeah, I have this little archive, and then if I did, but like I said, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. I think you guys have heard enough of me rambling about this. So so thank you so much, everybody in the chat for keeping me company. Michael, HR, Joseph, Lou, Melissa, Rob, thank you so much for keeping me company. Thank you so much to all of the eyeball people listening to me in the background. Thank you so much. I hope at least you got some work done and know where your stuff is. So, and also remember to save your files and back up your hard drives too. So, luckily, I have an automatic cloud. There you go. Thank you so much, Michael. Thank you. Jeez. I'll buy him a brownie. Oh, hello. So, so yeah, so make sure you save your files, you back up your hard drives, um, wrap your original art in plastic or whatever, try to keep it above a flood zone. But like in the end, it's like you can prepare for the worst scenario, and life will give you an even worse scenario that you didn't think of preparing for. So that's just what it is. That's just what it is. So thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah, so that's it for me. I haven't decided if I'm going to be doing a live stream on Wednesday. It depends on how I feel. I alternate, but we'll see. We'll see. So most likely I'll see you all again next Monday. So yeah, so I guess that's it for me. Now I'm just pretty much rambling. So if you want to learn more about me and my artwork and my Kickstarters and my new rosies and everything else, you can head on over to my main portfolio site at egoworks.com, EGOWORKS, where you can read Eagle Raven, Heir of the First Unicorn for free. But if you prefer your fantasy to be more of a furry Lord of the Rings adventure, you can follow the link over to Tall Tales, that's TAILS online.com, and read the entire archive of over 1,000 pages that I do still have, and I can see it from my desk, so I know where they are. But you can read the entire archive so far for free at the website at talltalesonline.com. And while you're there, make sure that you sign up. Oh, there we go. That you sign up for my newsletter by hitting the QR code or just signing up at my website, where you can keep up to date with all of my new art and my sketchbooks, my comics, my Kickstarters, and get a free PDF bundle just for joining, so that you can read Eagle Raven for free, you can read Tall Tales for free, and you can read the Oswald Chronicles for free, all on in PDF formats. You can read it on your phone, you can read it on your e-reader, so you get that for free just for signing up at my website and on the QR code. And again, just a reminder, House of Bob is still on Kickstarter. It ends on the 22nd, so there's still some time to pick up your latest sketchbook. your latest sketchbook of my artwork and an original art commission as well. But if you're looking forward to Inner Raven issue 12, the pre-launch page is it's live, and the link is in the chat as well. So thank you so much, everybody, for keeping me company. Thank you so much. We'll see you hopefully on Monday, the both of us again, where we'll try to talk about something a little bit more lighthearted than this. And in the words of the ancients, eat your food, moisturize, mind your business, and do the work. Because when you actually do the work, you never have to fake any of your accomplishments. Thank you so much again, and we'll see you next time.
Emotional damage.